first of all, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year's to everybody. Obviously, it's an exciting time. I think our football team has worked extremely hard to get to this point. It's always cool to be in playing the traditional powers, of a Alabama Notre Dame type game in the Rose Bowl. So all in all, we're excited for the opportunity. Proud of the accomplishments that our team has had up until this point. Now we've got a great challenge ahead of us.
Okay, with that we'll get started. We'll go with Dennis Dodd. Go ahead.
Hey, Sark, congratulations on the Broyles. Your colleague Lane Kiffin was famous for holding his hands up when he saw a play open up on the sidelines. I know you don't do that, but the way things have gone, do you ever feel that on the sidelines when you see things opening up the way things have gone this year? Like, this is going to work.
Well, I mean, I think, when you put in the time and the effort and the work, and then you start to see things develop in the way they do, you feel the excitement for the players. And I probably hold back my emotions some more than others. But generally, when you see something play out the way you had practiced it and the way you hoped, you're excited for the work of the coaches and everybody putting it in, and then ultimately the players' execution. So all in all, that's the preparation side of it, right? We put in our work, and then the results are the results, but that comes from the hard work leading in. And I think everybody expresses themselves a different way when good plays happen, and then we look forward to the results.
We'll go to Mike Rodak.
This is the first time I think we've talked to you since the Iron Bowl. So just looking back at that game for a second, just how much of an appreciation did you have just for your own personal journey, these past couple years, just being in that seat again and having that role as a head coach for a game?
Well, obviously, it was a unique scenario, and it was one that I just wanted to do the best job I could do for the university, for our football program, for Coach Saban. And ultimately, it was about the players. The guys played their tails off in that game. They played really well in all three phases, and I just kind of did my part the best I could. And again, I didn't want to lose sight of what my initial role always is, and that's to have our offense ready to play and to call plays. So the end result is it was an awesome opportunity. It was great to kind of be back in that role for a few hours, but the reality of it is, it was about the players and their performance, and I was proud of the way they played in the game.
Next, we will go with Brett Hudson. Go ahead, Brett.
Sark, how was Smitty used differently after Waddle went down to kind of compensate for his absence and then create the opportunity for him to have the statistical output that he's had in the second half of the regular season?
Well, I think what Smitty brings to the table is he's a very smart football player. I mean, this guy's got a very high football IQ. He's a guy that understands the game big picture, not just in one position or another. He recognizes coverages really well, and so it's allowed us to move him all over the field, whether it's in the slot, isolation type plays, in bunches. And the reality of it is he knows why we're calling what we're calling and what we're calling those things for. And the result is, he's got a quarterback who prepares really well, who knows why we're calling those plays as well and takes advantage of the opportunities when they're there. And then ultimately it comes down to the players making plays. And I think Smitty has demonstrated that all year long, and it's been probably magnified since Jalen went out. That his unique playmaking ability shows up. And he's had a tremendous season. I'm so proud of him because I know it was a tough decision for him at the end of last season to come back. But clearly him coming back has been worth his while, and I'm sure it's been very gratifying for him. Clearly, we've benefited from that as well from a football standpoint for our team. So all in all, I think it's been a win-win, but really proud of Smitty, his leadership that he's displayed, the work ethic he displayed, and then ultimately the playmaking ability.
We'll go to Aaron Suttles next.
Steve, against Florida, you ran a play where you had Najee out wide, and he sort of runs this hitch into like this slant post. Obviously, you can't run that type of play without having trust in your offensive line. Does that offensive line, does it allow you the liberty to maybe call plays that you otherwise wouldn't be able to call with a lesser line?
Without a doubt. I said this early on, I think in preseason, we've got a very veteran group up front. Even with Landon out and Chris Owens stepping in, we've got a veteran group. They've played a lot of football. They've seen a lot of defense. So you get a feel for them in preparation of the things they're comfortable doing, the things that maybe they're not as comfortable doing, and then you trust the dialogue that you have with them. And so all in all, I felt good about where we were at from a pass protection standpoint in that game, and those guys assured me of that. And so it allowed us to do some different things, maybe out of empty and whatnot, that play in particular to allow us maybe another second to let a play develop.
Okay, we will go with George Bashura next. Go ahead, George.
Notre Dame's defense has been very tenacious.
George, you're going to have to unmute yourself, George. Okay, hold on. We'll go to somebody else, George. We'll go to John Finneran.
Coach, I was wondering if you could probably dissect the Notre Dame defense for us, and where do you see some similarities to some other defenses that you've played this season?
Yeah, I don't know if I could completely dissect them. They do a great job. I mean, Coach Lee's a tremendous football coach. They've got a great scheme. They've got a team that plays hard, that plays tough, that plays sound football. They're very aggressive up front. They're aggressive in the back end. They create turnovers. They attack the football. They do a tremendous job of getting off the field on third down. They do a really good job of stopping the run on first down to put you into the tougher second longs and then the third and long type scenarios. So at the end of the day, these guys are a very good team. Obviously, they've got some highlight type players in number 6 and number 14 who make plays on the perimeter, make plays, pressure in the quarterback. But I think they play really complementary football with their defense, with their offense. They get you off the field on defense, and then they possess the ball on offense. And so we've got to do a great job in this game of extending drives on third down and then ultimately maximizing opportunities in the red area to score touchdowns.
We'll go to Joseph Goodman.
Hey, Steve. DeVonta is obviously up for the Heisman Trophy this year. How has that receiver position kind of evolved with this new era of offense in college football, making it, I guess, more impactful and important?
Well, I mean, I think clearly you look around the country, a lot of people are throwing the ball. So receiver numbers are what they are right now. I can't speak for everybody. Where I speak for us is, we lost 2 great receivers last year in Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy. We lost Jalen Waddle early in the year this year. Obviously, John Metchie has stepped up for us, but it created a unique opportunity for DeVonta Smith to be a guy where we had been spreading the wealth around so much here for the last couple of years that all of a sudden now he can become a real feature guy. And I don't know if that's what everybody else does. I know our system is complementary on offense. We like to be a balanced attack. We run the football clearly with Najee. We try to spread the ball around. We're obviously a big formation team. But from a receiver standpoint, I'm sure it's a lot of fun for a lot of guys because the game has changed so dramatically over the last 10, 20, 30 years to where more guys are getting more opportunities to make plays down the field catching the ball. And I think that stems back to high school and in 7-on-7 and what everybody has going on there. So, again, I can't speak for everybody else and the receiver play. I do speak to the fact that, we're fortunate enough to have one of the best ones in the country on our team and provides a great deal of leadership on our football team.
We'll go to Lucas Weiss.
Hey, Coach, thanks so much for taking the time. Just following up on John Metchie III, Coach Saban mentioned yesterday just the positive impact he's had on the program, how tough he is, how physical he is. Can you just elaborate on the growth that you've seen in John from the start of the program to now and how he'll be utilized against Notre Dame on Friday?
Well, I think when he came in, he was really the 5th guy in that room. And I think to his credit, he really tried to learn from those guys. And he really tried to see, what does Ruggs do? What does Jeudy do? What does Smitty do? What does Waddle do? And how does that fit my game? And then when this year came around, it was still a little unknown A&M shows up and the guy has a breakout game against a quality opponent, top 5 opponent in the country. And I think that's when he stepped onto the scene. I think for himself, the confidence kicked into all the work I've been putting in is starting to pay off now. So he's a huge asset to us. I think he provides, again, a lot of versatility. He's a very smart player, which is key in our system. So complementary football with he and DeVonta, and then obviously what Najee's doing in the backfield. We've got some pretty savvy players that can move around the field.
We'll go to Nick Hamilton. Nick?
Coach Sarkisian, wanted to get your thoughts on Mac Jones as well as DeVonta Smith. What have you seen from those two individuals as far as their progression and their growth over the course of the season, both on and off the field?
Well, they're both great leaders. I think the one thing, especially in this day and age of college football, very rarely do you have guys that are highlight really good football players for you in their 4th year. So many guys leave early, right? So both those guys have been around the program. They've been through the battles. I mean, DeVonta's notorious for the second and 26 catch against Georgia in the national championship game. Mac came in as kind of the 3-star, grinded out, sitting behind a Jalen Hurts and a Tua Tagovailoa. But at the end of it all, it is the perseverance that they provide, the leadership they provide, and then ultimately the performance. These guys prepare better than anybody right now on offense for us in their preparation for the game, and it shows in the way they play the game. And their preparation is at the highest level. They remind me of NFL players when it comes to that. And the result is they're prepared for what they may see from the opponent. They're prepared for what's asked of them from us from an offensive standpoint. But more importantly, they provide a model for our younger players of this is how you want to go about your business if you want to play at a high level. And that's not just on the field, that's off the field in their preparation. So all in all, I'm so proud of these two young men because for DeVonta, which we talked about, for him coming back for his senior season, and then having the results that he's having, and then also for Mac for the perseverance. This is a guy who waited his turn, got thrown to the fire late last season, showed some resiliency, bouncing back from a couple interceptions in the Auburn game, and then this offseason came and just almost wouldn't be denied and set himself up for a tremendous season. And so the results that he's having now, I'm very proud of him, and I'm happy for him because he's earned it.
Go to Charlie Potter.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, what does it say about the balance of this offense that you guys have 3 of the top 5 Heisman vote getters, and just how much fun is it to coach these players when they buy into that and have success on the field?
Well, I think it speaks volumes to our team in general. I mean, I think anytime awards like this come up, and like for us to have 3 of the top 5 in the Heisman means our team is playing good football. Those things don't happen if you're not winning football games, if you're not in this situation in the college football playoff. So I think that's a byproduct of being on a good football team. But for us as an offense, I think the idea that these guys bought into the run game helps the passing game. The passing game helps the run game. We are not one-dimensional. We don't recruit one-dimensional offensive linemen. We ask them to run block. We ask them to pass protect. We don't recruit one-dimensional backs. Clearly, Najee and his versatility of running the ball, catching the ball out of the backfield. Brian Robinson kind of in the same mold, and very intelligent receivers. And so, we do use quite a bit of formations and motions and things, and that can be taxing on you if you don't know what you're doing. So all in all, the buy-in for the players on offense has been something I'm proud of because it's not always easy. It's easy to say, man, we just want to run the ball, or why aren't we throwing it more? But I think our players are mature enough to know that we need both aspects of our offense to make the other one go. And the result is, those guys are not the only ones, but those guys are getting, the accolades that I think they deserve.
Okay, we'll finish up with Stephen Smith.
Coach, just talk about how much your relationship with head coach Nick Saban has grown. You came back to Alabama in 2019 as the offensive coordinator. What have you learned the most from Coach Saban, and what do you hope that he's learned from you?
I don't know what he's learned from me. But, I would say, at the end of the day, I've just tried to be a sponge here, man. I mean, I had a choice here 2 years ago with some other opportunities and had the opportunity to come back here to Alabama. I jumped on the opportunity, not just to coach the players and be part of the team, but to be around him. Coach Saban is the best to ever do it. And then a year ago, I had a couple opportunities to become a head coach, and I decided to come back because I felt like my work here wasn't done. I felt like I owed it to him. I made a commitment to him to be part of this program, and I just try to do the best I can do. I try to be the best version of Steve Sarkisian every day that I show up, and be a sponge into all of the aspects of the program that he has his fingerprint on, which is literally everything. And I think probably the biggest thing I've learned from him is his ability to balance all aspects of the program, whether it's on the field, off the field, recruiting, all of that goes into being a head coach at a place like Alabama. Those are all the things that I've tried to take in from him, because his balance of all of that, I think, is what is pretty incredible.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All righty, guys. Thank you.